Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So I have updates to share with you about two stories I've covered in the past that are really heartbreaking, truly disturbing. The first is about Elijah McClain. Elijah, as you may recall, was a 23-year-old, extremely gentle young man who used to go to play his violin for cats in the local shelter. That's the kind of guy he was. He was a vegetarian. He said that, he would never hurt anyone. On August 24th of 2019, in the state of Colorado, Elijah was walking home from a convenience store. Thanks to systemic racism in this country and the white fright propaganda spewed by right-wing news, and I say that in quotes, news outlets, some idiot called 911. They called the cops on him. He was literally doing nothing wrong. He was bothering no one. He was making no noise. He was just simply walking home with the stuff he purchased. But some racist asshole believed that he was a danger to the community. So cops show up, story that we know all too well, that we've sadly come to expect. They had no idea how to deal with him. Apparently, it at least seems that Elijah was maybe on the spectrum from the way he was talking and behaving. And they're not trained cops to do anything other than shoot, kneel on people, arrest them, apparently, which is why people want to divest funds away from police officers to other services. Anyway, I digress. So they slammed Elijah on the ground. He weighed like 130 pounds. He weighed so little. He was a very slight man. They ignored him. He said, "I can't breathe." He told them, "I'm different. You don't understand." They just totally ignored everything. And they allowed paramedics to come and inject him with far too much ketamine for his size. They overestimated his weight because they're walking testicles who are apparently afraid of anybody who's not the color of paper. This led to Elijah's death, sadly. They were going to get away with it because the district attorney, Dave Young, is a reprehensible piece of walking excrement who decided that the cops did nothing wrong. No, they handled it all just fine. Well, after the death of George Floyd, Elijah's family went public with the story. And that's when his death came under scrutiny. And finally, they were able to get body camera footage released, which showed what really happened, which was just incomprehensible, utterly cruel, and unnecessary. So a grand jury, this is the good news. I hate to even say good news because this young man is no longer here. There's nothing that will bring him back, but he needs justice. So a grand jury just returned a 32-count indictment against all of those involved, including 2 current police officers, 1 former police officer, and 2 paramedics. So officers Randy Rodema, I believe is how you pronounce it, Nathan Woodyard, and Jason Rosenblatt, as well as paramedics Jeremy Cooper and Peter Chikunik, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. They were all charged with 1 count each of manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide, second-degree assault with intent to cause bodily injury, and a crime of violence that's connected to some of the other charges. So the paramedics, Cooper and Chikunik, they were hit with additional charges, including 1 count each of second-degree assault for recklessly causing serious bodily injury by means of a deadly weapon, which was the administration of the ketamine, 1 count each of second-degree assault for a purpose other than lawful medical or therapeutic treatment for intentionally causing stupor or unconsciousness or other physical or mental impairment or injury. And that was, again, for the administration of ketamine without consent by the patient. So I'll keep you guys posted on this, but with the bullshit qualified immunity laws that we have in this country, which shield people like police officers and politicians from any wrongdoing, these alleged murderers might still get a pass. Even though they were indicted, they might still get a pass. But at least they were indicted. We'll see where it goes. I'm going to keep every body part crossed. The next update is about another horrific murder, another unarmed Black man. And honestly, when I saw the video for the first time, I thought it had to be a joke. I thought it had to be staged because it was so surreal for the year 2020 to see what I saw in this video. I honestly thought it was fake. I thought it was made up to make Southern white people look racist, like racist murderers. That I'm just going to be clear. I'm just going to keep it real. So I'm talking about the alleged hunting down and killing of Ahmaud Arbery. Ahmaud, as you may recall, was a 25-year-old man. He was out jogging on February 23rd of last year when these racist Southern strategy lunatics, Greg McMichael and his father, who's a former cop, Travis McMichael, along with their friend, William Roddy Bryan, allegedly chased him down. They chased Ahmaud down. They surrounded and boxed him in with their vehicles. And then Travis shot him at close range in the stomach or in the chest with a rifle. And the entire incident, by the way, was caught on camera by their friend Roddy. And he was delusional enough and apparently racist enough to think that this video somehow exonerated his bigoted buddies, even though he admitted to the police that Travis McMichael called Ahmaud Arbery the N-word shortly after pulling the trigger. While Ahmaud is laying on the ground, gasping for his last breath, this guy stood over his body and called him the N-word. That's the last thing, one of the last things he heard. So once again, authorities did nothing. They didn't even arrest these lunatics until the video went viral. Like I said, Roddy put it out, but it went viral and people went ballistic about what appears to be a modern day lynching. That's what it was compared to. And it's real. It's true. So since then, the three of these men have been arrested. They were indicted on numerous charges, including murder and a federal hate crime. Well, now the initial prosecutor on the case, who said that they did nothing wrong, she's been indicted as well. A grand jury indicted former prosecutor and district attorney Jackie Johnson for violating her oath of office and obstructing the police because she ordered the officers to not arrest Travis McMichael. She told them, don't arrest him. They showed up and literally they're standing there with a weapon, with a Black man dying on the ground. They didn't even bother to check for a pulse. This is all on camera. This is all on video. And they didn't bother. He was still breathing. They didn't bother to try to administer any kind of life-saving measures, nothing. They all just stood around, had a talk about it. And then one of them said, oh, well, why would Travis be in handcuffs? I mean, he's just standing here with a weapon and admitted to murdering this man who's laying down on the ground in front of us, bleeding out. But yeah, why would we arrest him? He's white, right? So the indictment states that Johnson, this attorney general, she showed, quote, favor and affection for Greg McMichael because apparently he was an investigator in her office at one time. So they knew each other. And the evidence shows that when this happened, like right when this happened, when they shot Ahmaud, allegedly shot Ahmaud Arbery, and he's laying there on the ground, either dead or dying, he picked up the phone. The father of the guy who shot him picked up the phone and called her directly and left her a voicemail saying, quote, could you call me as soon as you possibly can? So there's no record showing that she returned his call, but she apparently did involve herself in the case immediately following this alleged murder. Investigators say that the very next day after the shooting, Johnson brought in District Attorney George Barnhill to advise the police on what they should do, how they should handle this. Within 24 hours of her bringing him in on this, he claimed that he had reviewed all the evidence and he told the police, oh, there's no reason to arrest these three men. Yeah, these three men who cornered and shot a man for no reason to arrest them. So after substantial pressure from Ahmaud's mother, and God bless her for that, you don't ever let up on these people because they will get away with whatever they can. So thank God she didn't give up on this. She was going to get justice for her son. So she pressured these people, and Barnhill ended up recusing himself from the case. But he still maintained that there was nothing wrong. They performed a citizen's arrest because they thought that he was committing a crime. And he claims that they acted in self-defense because he said Ahmaud initiated the fight. Yeah, that's a real fight, right? One guy with a gun, one guy without a gun. How about if the little walking testicle, white fright racist put down his gun and actually fight the guy? Actually make it a fair fight. So Ahmaud's family, by the way, was lied to. They were told that he was killed during a possible burglary. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing was complete and utter bullshit. It was proven by video evidence taken at the vacant home site that Ahmaud walked through. This is something that white people do every day in America, and they're not hunted down and murdered for doing so. People walk through model homes all the time, or homes that are in the process of being built. Even homes that are in the process of being just remodeled. I know, because I've remodeled a lot of homes in my life. And people just walk in. The door's open. You're trying to keep the air flowing. It's hot in there. Literally, people just walk in. I've never chased anybody down with a gun for doing that. Anyway, these bastards chased him down. He had done absolutely nothing wrong. They surrounded him, and one of them had a gun. So yeah, anyone on earth would believe, hey, I think my life is in jeopardy, and I need to fight to get away from these lunatics. Allegedly. All of this is alleged, right? Has to go to trial first. But anyway, back to this case. So there was a direct conflict of interest between this Barnhill guy who Johnson brought in and him being involved in this case because his son worked for Johnson. So he had an incentive to do and say whatever the hell she wanted. And the indictment also alleges that Johnson, quote, failed to treat Ahmaud Arbery and his family fairly and with dignity when Johnson sought the assistance of this Barnhill guy. So the other piece of good news in this, on top of Johnson being indicted, is that Barnhill is also under investigation in relation to this murder, alleged murder. So let's hope that he's indicted. However, if you guys were hoping for real justice, it's unlikely that this is going to satisfy you. It's not going to satisfy me, because even if Johnson is found guilty, she's realistically looking at a couple of years in prison, if that. So violating your oath of office is a felony, and it requires a maximum sentence of 1 to 5 years. And then the obstruction of law enforcement is just a misdemeanor, and that's punishable by up to 1 year, so 12 months in prison. But keep in mind, this is the South we're talking about, and I can easily see her either getting a ridiculously low plea deal and no prison time, or some lone racist holdout, if she allows it to go to court, or 3 or 4 are gonna cause this to be a hung jury. They're gonna say no. My guess, she's gonna get to walk. I'm just telling you guys the truth. I hope I'm wrong, But I've seen stuff like this play out far too many times. And again, this is the racist South. I know there's a lot of good people in the South, but there's still way too many racists. There's still way too many Confederate holdovers. All right, guys. So I will keep you posted on this. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. Take care. I will talk with you soon.